Okay, so here's the tools that you can purchase at a ceramic supply store. In our area, there's Aardvark Clay and Supplies in Santa Ana, and there's also Laguna Clay, and that is in the City of Industry. That's near the 605 and the 60 freeway. So let me just go over some of these tools. Okay, one of probably the most important tools you'll use that are very simple to make. This is called a modeling stick. And the modeling stick has a screwdriver or chisel point, and it has a pencil point. We can use this tool for scoring. We can use this tool for sculpting, and this is one of the tools you'll be using a lot. Okay, so that's one. We also have a tool called the fettling knife. Now we can use a kitchen knife. We can modify it if we want to make our own, but the fettling knife is for cutting straight edges in clay, for making and piercing holes. Another tool, you will need a knife. So the modeling stick, fettling knife. Then we have some more wood tools. These are various kinds of modeling sticks, and they have different types of edges and shapes. Some are cupped, some are straight. You can get wood and a pocket knife, and you could literally whittle these down if you like, or you can purchase these. There's also other places you can buy tools. Hobby Lobby and Michaels both carry small tool kits that you can purchase. Okay, so various sizes and shapes of modeling sticks for doing detail, for scraping, for carving and cutting in. So a lot of other modeling tools. This is our true modeling stick, we're going to call it, fettling knife. We'll just call these modeling tools. Okay, another tool that kind of difficult to make, but we can make one, would be, this is called a wire loop tool, and it's made with a flat piece of ribbon wire, and it comes in various shapes. If you go to the clay supply store, there's probably 20 or 30 different shapes these wires are in. I suggest getting the flat ribbon versus the ones that are round, kind of like a paper clip. Okay, so wire loop tool. You can also get these. I looked online, and you can find these at Hobby Lobby. These are in a finer, smaller. A couple of projects we're going to be doing sculpting, doing some detail carving, and if you wanted to make a perfectly round piece of clay, you could dive this in the clay and pull it, and you could do that. You can carve with them. So varying sizes of miniature wire loop tools, and again, these are all made with the flat ribbon wire. Okay. Also, another important tool that we can also make modification wise, this is the needle tool. Okay, it's got a sharp point for piercing. You can also use it for cutting. If you purchase one of these at the ceramic supply store or the Hobby Lobby type store, be careful when you use these as a knife. Don't press down too hard, because this snaps very easily, and these are not expensive. So a needle tool is another great tool to have in your toolkit. We'll also be using ribs. Okay, so this rib, we call this our rusty rib. It's nice, brand new and shiny, but as it gets wet, it begins to rust. So, but I use these for scraping. If I work with a piece of clay and I want it smooth, I could use this to scrape the surface and make it all smooth. This is one type of metal rib. We also have these you can get at the ceramic supply store, and they come in a lot of different shapes. Here's another one right here. This one here is rounded. These are generally made for throwing on the potter's wheel, but can easily be bent and modified a little bit as you're using it for scraping the outside of a form. I personally like this metal rib, and we call both of these flexible metal ribs, as they do bend, but you don't want to bend it so much that you create a crease. Hence, you've just permanently ruined your tool, except for that one task you needed it creased. So, and these can also be made at home using an old gift card or a credit card. So we can draw out a pattern and cut this out. We can use sandpaper to smooth. So these are rusty rib, and 2 flexible metal ribs. Also at the ceramic supply stores, maybe at one of the tool kits you might buy at that supply store or at a Hobby Lobby, they have these rubber ribs, and these are slightly pliable, but these are great for smoothing. You can see there's one flat edge and then there's a beveled edge. The beveled edge is great for smoothing the surface of your pots and getting a really refined, smooth texture. So again, rubber ribs. And then we come to these other ribs here. These are called serrated ribs, and the serrated ribs have teeth. Okay, that's the serrated edge, kind of like a steak knife. This particular one they sell at a clay supply store. I'm not sure at the hobby stores. You can also find this type of rib made out of plastic, sometimes metal, in the paint sections of your hardware, Home Depot, Lowe's type stores. So, and they're very inexpensive. They use this, artists use this, they'll put drywall mud on walls and they will texture, put a decorative surface on the wall, let it dry, and then paint it. And these are great for ceramics. So if you can find one of these, this is great for scoring. And again, at the ceramic supply store, you can get another rib and you can see the teeth on this, yes? So this, you know, has teeth, serrated edge, and they make noise. I would say one thing to invest in would be to acquire one of these. I call it an arrowhead tool, and on my list of supplies you would need to purchase from the clay supply store, I will have that on canvas, and you can check that out, is to get one of these carving tools. And there's about 4 of them. This is one of the better ones. It has kind of like an X-Acto knife arrowhead edge, and the other one is cup shaped. So you can actually cut through the clay and then come back with the cup shape and cut a bevel out. So you can start to carve relief and to create varying depths of surface on your work or on your tile. So this would be one I would really purchase at a ceramic supply store. Okay, that one and the needle tool. These 2 are ones you would want. And then also, you don't need one this big. You can get smaller ones. Again, you can buy a small set, but these are great tools too. Now, for the beginners in the class, you know, we call this a cutoff wire, and this is how we remove clay out of a bag. Okay, so we'll be taking the cutoff wire and we'll be cutting a piece of clay off the pug out of a bag of clay, and essentially it's just 2 sticks with a braided wire that is tied to it. I'm going to show you how to make your own. We're going to use fishing line and washers, but you could buy, if you had guitar strings, those are, some of them are made out of metal and they're really strong. You could use that. You could even use regular string if it had a good tensile strength. I've seen people in a pinch take the thread dental floss, and it works if the clay is not too hard. So cutoff wire is going to be important. You cut your clay off with this. You don't cut it off with a knife. There's very little surface tension on this wire and makes cutting effortlessly. If you were to cut a large chunk of clay with, say, a butcher knife, all of that surface area of the knife, you would be fighting just to get the knife to move through the material. So these are the basic things that you can purchase if you want to acquire your ceramic tools for this semester, and sorry to say, maybe longer this school year, that you are going to need to complete all these projects that we're going to be doing. Now the other option, I'm going to be switching up the video and I'm going to go over the materials you'll need to purchase to make your own tools. Either way, you'll want to acquire something similar to this. And also I might say, if you have some small paint brushes, something you can get at a hobby store or at that clay supply store, a couple in varying sizes. I like to use these as I'm working with my wet clay. I use them to smooth and then as well as decorating. So paint brushes are important as well. And let me switch up the video. Oh, one other thing before I do. Here's another wood modeling stick. This one we call our wood knife, but you can see how the back end has been carved and made into a portion of a circle. And these are great for making detail on the surface of clay. And you can modify a wood tool by carving on it, okay? And you could make some really unique shapes that when you press or pull across the clay, you will leave that certain texture in the material. So I'm going to turn off and get ready and show you the stuff you'll need to make tools similar to this.